Consoles are supposed to be the cheaper, easier option to play games, but we have reached a turning point. That is just no longer the case. The PS5 Pro was just announced, and it's been priced at an insane $700. That is just crazy. On top of that, the console itself is not that much better than a regular PS5. What is going on? What happened to consoles? I remember when a new console would come out, and it would be leaps and bounds better than its predecessor, and much more innovative. That reality is dead. And now we live in a world where console manufacturers want to sell you guys very minor upgrades for almost the price of a decent gaming laptop. And believe me, there are much better options out there. By the end of this video, I'm going to make the argument that it's time to drop the console and pick up a gaming laptop that can do so much more. And trust me, I've got some pretty compelling arguments to make. So, Big Daddy Sony decided to reveal the PS5 Pro to the world, and the masses have revolted against them because of the insane price for it.
Wait a minute!
And some really controversial features of this new console, like the fact that it doesn't have a disk drive, so this thing is 100% digital, and also, if you guys want a stand, you would think because of the price that it came with one, right? Nope, you gotta buy one separately. I guess the one positive that the PS5 Pro has is that, yes, it is actually better than the PS5, but they put out the showcase trying to show off the differences between the PS5 and the PS5 Pro as far as like graphical fidelity goes, and the comparisons that they showed really didn't matter that much. Like, in some cases it almost seemed like there was no difference at all, like it's really hard to tell. And I was reading some of the comments and it seems like people were actually preferring the PS5 over the PS5 Pro. Like, the only big differences here was that, you know, it's just like increased sharpness on like leaves and stuff. It's just really weird. But either way, the internet is not having it, and the usual suspects are all trying to flock to Sony's defense and trying to gaslight people into, you know, saying that this is not a big deal. But it is a big deal. Consoles are supposed to be the cheaper, easier option for people to play games. Easier? Maybe. But cheaper? I'm not so sure anymore, especially with this crazy price tag. Now, if you're looking to just literally play video games and not do anything else, it still is the cheapest option, but man, we are really treading some murky waters here. I don't think we're having an argument over pricing anymore, and I think it's more about features. And when you look at it like that, comparing consoles to PCs or laptops, you guys are just getting straight up scammed. I think a good analogy for this is like, buying a console is like buying a motorcycle over a full-sized car or SUV. Now sure, both of them are going to get you from point A to point B, but the car has way more features and so much more things you can do with it, like haul groceries from the store, drive around more than one friend, not get soaking wet when it's in the rain, you've got AC when it's hot, the list goes on and on. Now, the biggest counter argument to people telling console players like, bro, just get a PC, is obviously the startup pricing, right? It's gonna cost you a lot of money to get you guys set up and going. If you're going like the straight up PC route, you need a desktop, you need all the peripherals like keyboard, mouse, speakers, monitor, etc. And yeah, if you've got the money, you can definitely go that way. But this video is not about that. This one is all about how to get into the PC market and get set up with relatively the same kind of a setup you have in your living room, so that way things don't feel too different than what you're used to. And I'm not even joking. Like, literally all you need is a laptop, an HDMI cable, and just plug that into your TV in your living room, and you guys can game like you did on your consoles. And it's not like switching over to a PC is going to be, you know, limiting you to the types of games you guys can play. Now, sure, there's going to be, you know, PlayStation exclusives that you won't be able to play, or, you know, you have to wait until later for them to do that because they are starting to release some of these games on Steam, which is cool, but again, you're just gonna have to wait a few years for that. But when it comes to Xbox, Microsoft pretty much has all of their games playable on PC day one. And that's not even talking about the tens of thousands of video games that are on the PC that you guys can play that you never had access to. I'm not going to be going over every single feature that a desktop PC or a laptop has over a console because that would be literally an hour-long video, but I will say this, there are a bunch of things that you guys can do on a computer that you cannot do on a console. And that just sounds so weird coming out of my mouth because I know most of you have used a computer, you know what a computer is, you guys know everything that it can do, right? So I don't need to go over all that stuff. But the point of the matter is, at the end of the day, you're getting way more out of a laptop than you are out of a console, especially now with how close the gap between the pricing is. Speaking of which, before we get into my recommendations for some laptops you guys can use to get into the PC market, I just ask you guys that if you're enjoying this video or you're finding it informative, please let me know by subscribing to my channel. Here I upload videos every single week and I cover World of Warcraft and other video games and gaming news in general, so chances are there's probably something on my channel that you guys will enjoy. So now I want to give you guys my recommendations for laptops you guys can pick up that all outperform the PS5 Pro, and I think are some really good budget-friendly gaming laptops. So we're going to go from cheapest to most expensive, and the first one we're going to be talking about here is the MSI Bravo 15. This is what is considered a mid-range gaming laptop. This one's got an AMD Ryzen 5 processor, a NVIDIA GeForce RTX 4050 graphics card, 16 gigs of RAM, but the biggest con for this laptop in my opinion is going to be the storage capacity, so it's only got 512 gigs of storage, and that's like 2 video games nowadays. Now there are ways to upgrade this and get more storage space. They do require a bit of knowledge, but there are plenty of videos on YouTube on how to do this. But again, this is what you get for the price tag of this laptop. So the MSI Bravo 15 is going to run you $800. Next up, we've got the Dell G15 gaming laptop. This thing's got a 13th gen i7 processor, an NVIDIA GeForce RTX 4060 video card, 16 gigs of RAM, and 1 terabyte of SSD for storage. So as of recording this video, the price of this laptop has actually dropped. Before it was $1,200, but on the Dell website you guys can actually pick it up for $950. And in my opinion, this is a really good deal for this kind of a laptop. And if I was trying to get, the biggest bang for my buck out of all the laptops listed here, this is the one that I would pick up. The last laptop that I want to talk to you guys about today is going to be one that's a little bit more pricey, but I do think this one is definitely worth it if you've got the money to spend. This is the Asus TUF 15.6-inch gaming laptop. It's got a 13th gen i7 processor, a NVIDIA GeForce RTX 4070 graphics card, 16 gigs of RAM, and a terabyte of storage. The price for this one is about $1,400, but in my opinion, for having a 4070 in it, that's actually a pretty good price. So hopefully you guys found this video informative and you are now well prepared and have some ideas of where to look for some laptops. Thank you so much for watching. I'm still Solo, and I'll see you guys in the next one.